Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with another weekly wrap-up on the Yakking Show, and this is going to tell you what's been happening in the week ending 9th of August 2024. But first, big welcome to Kathleen, co-host. Hi, Kathleen. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Peter. Thanks. And thank you also very much for tuning into our show. And today I'd like to talk to you about something that I actually brought up in our last wrap-up video last week, Peter, and that was sugar and how it relates specifically to pancreatic cancer. That's what we talked about last week.
That's right, we did.
But as you know, as most people would know, or maybe this is new information for some people, there is a link between sugar and cancer risk. And that's what I want to talk about today. So in generalized, general cancer. So that's really the topic for today. So there's been a recent discovery, and I don't know if it's a recent discovery. It says it's a recent discovery, but people have known that sugar and cancer it feeds. Cancer feeds off of sugar, right? So, but here's what the article that we're going to post today is saying about this topic. So a recent discovery suggests that the chemical methylglyoxal, or MGO, released whenever the body breaks down glucose, can temporarily switch off cancer protecting mechanisms. Right? So the BRCA2 is a gene that repairs DNA and helps make a protein that suppresses tumor growth and cancer cell proliferation. MGO is capable of temporarily destroying the BRCA protein, leading to lower levels of the protein in the cells and thus inhibiting its ability to prevent tumor formation. So, what does this mean? It means that the more sugar your body needs to break down, the higher the levels of this chemical, MGO, and the higher your risk of developing malignant tumors.
Interesting one.
Right?
Yep.
So the study, of course, that was published in January in the journal called Diabetes and Metabolism, shows that, of course, eating a Mediterranean style of diet may reduce these levels of MGO, the MGO levels. And of course, eating healthy vegetables and healthy proteins, healthy fats, fish, eggs, and yogurt are the way to go. And basically stay away from processed sugar. And there's today's message, Peter.
Okay, and that applies to all cancers, right? Not
Yes,
just one specific one.
Right.
That's very interesting, and it encourages allows the cancer growth because it switches off the genes that are responsible for stopping cancer cell growth. So that's
listen to this, Peter. I forgot to mention this tidbit. So it says here that cancer cells, as I just mentioned, are ravenous for sugar, consuming it at a rate of 200 times that of normal cells.
wow, 200 times more than
200
normal.
times. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. So,
and as we know, diet is so important for preventing many other conditions and diseases, right? It all comes back to diet.
Well, you know what? It really frustrates me that our medical system really doesn't talk about nutrition. You know, when you go see, I don't know about you, Peter, but if I go see the family doctor, well, he never talks about diet, right? They just never bring it up. It's not something that they're really well trained in. It's just not. It's, you know, they just say, well, you know, you may have high cholesterol and you would probably benefit from a Mediterranean diet, and you can look that up if you want more information. But they don't really delve into great nutrition. It's just not something they do.
I know. That's the way things have gone. But
Absolutely.
you've got a suggestion for people to help with their overall health and diet. What's that?
Well, I just wanted to bring up again one of Dr. Morse's wonderful products, and today is the Heal All Tea. This is I have a cup of this every day, and I think you too as well, don't you, Peter?
I do. And I've got to tell you, I don't know if there's a correlation, and I can't say it's the only reason, but I started Heal All Tea about 10 days ago,
Mhm.
and I walk 5 mornings a week. I walk the same route every morning.
Right?
And yes, yesterday was my fastest ever time. I took 55 seconds off my previous best time yesterday morning. I was pushing hard, and today I was within 20 seconds of that time, so second best ever time. And
And you
I'm
feel
walking
great.
Feel wonderful. And I'm walking quicker than I was 5 years ago, faster. And I can't say it's just the heel or tea, but at touch wood, I'm feeling really good and strong as an ox. So that's my personal experience.
Well, you know
Anyway,
what?
sorry, I interrupted you. Back to
That's
you.
okay. As with all of Dr. Morse's formulas, Peter, this tea incorporates herbs aligned to whole body
Uh,
detoxification and renewal. So the Heal All formula includes butcher's broom for circulatory support, black walnut and golden seal to promote the removal of unwanted organisms from the gut,
Mm-hmm.
and white oak and mullein to astringe interstitial fluid and promote lymphatic flow. So really, it helps. It's a rejuvenating tonic for the body's tissues and organs as it promotes waste removal so that tissues can receive fresh nutrients and oxygen to support the healing process. And as with all of Dr. Morse's herbs, all the formulas are organic, well crafted, or consciously cultivated. So that's our little tidbit today for the Dr. Morse Heal All Tea.
Yeah, very good. And there'll be a link so you can get your own supply of Dr. Morse Heal All Tea in the newsletter and in the description of on this
At a
video.
discount as well, Peter,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. We'll put a coupon code in there so you can get extra discount.
Yeah.
I got to tell you something else interesting on the health side and my walking that we interviewed a gentleman called John Manley on the show probably 2.5, 3 years ago. And he's an author. He lives in Stratford, not far away from me. And he runs 7 kilometers every morning. And he's a proponent of nose breathing. And we discussed nose breathing on the show before. And he
Mm-hmm.
said to me, "Are you making a conscious effort to breathe through your nose?" And I said, "Well, at the time I was walking mainly with a walking partner, and of course we would talk." So I said, he says, "Well, you should try and not to talk." And he said, "You should really concentrate on nose breathing." And you and I have discussed this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, long story short, I no longer walk with a walking partner in the morning. She can't walk. So I'm on my own. So for months now, I've been concentrating on breathing through my nose. And I found in winter it was easy to breathe in through my nose, but I, for some reason, had to breathe out through my mouth. But I worked on it. And for, I'd say, 3 weeks, I've been doing my whole 5 kilometer walk with only nose breathing, right? And it's no longer an effort, it's natural. And I'm just wondering if that's contributed to my faster walking speed.
Well, you know what, Peter, it wouldn't surprise me at all because, of course, nose breathing helps filter out any impurities, right? That's, going through the nose
Yeah,
versus directly from the mouth into the lungs. So who knows, Peter?
that's
Really?
right.
Yeah.
But his theory, and what I've read in other articles, is that if you only breathe through the nose, you get the optimum balance of oxygen and carbohydrate in your blood system, right? And in your lungs.
Mm-hmm.
If you breathe, and many experts say the only time you really need to breathe through your mouth is if you're running at almost your full capacity, because you can't get enough air through your nose. That's the only time you should be breathing through your mouth. But until you get to that point, try and breathe through your nose. So it's working for me. Anyway, so that was a little sidetrack, but I thought I'd mention that to our audience and to you before I forgot. So let's tell you about what's been happening on the Yakking Show this week. So on Tuesday, we interviewed Antti Kozlowski, who is a spiritual sage and quite an amazing younger guy. He has done several endurance challenges, one of which was a 12-day fast. I've done a 2-day fast, and I thought that was tough. He did
I
a
did a
12-day.
6-day water
You did
fast.
6.
Yeah.
Ah,
Mhm.
can't imagine. He also climbed up a mountain, and I'm not sure which mountain, but it was a significant mountain, wearing only a pair of shorts in the middle of winter. Right, and again, that was phenomenal. But despite being young, he studied a lot with Oriental sages, Western sages, and he's come up with some really good ideas to help you get on with your life and overcome fear. So that's a good episode to listen to or to watch. Next week, we'll have Kelly Spark, and she is Kelly Sparta. She's a spiritual coach and she's a little different to many of the coaches we've had on the show, but she's really good, and she helps people overcome fear and live better lives, especially concentrating on the spiritual side, which many coaches miss out on. So I thought she was good too.
Mm-hmm.
A week after that will be Vicky Paris Goodman, who's an author, and she talks about grief and seeing opportunities in grief. She lost her husband not long ago and chose not to let it destroy her life. So she has some good points. And then following that, the next week will be Erica Hoke, who's also good. She talks about improving fertility naturally without resorting to laboratory drugs and all the rest. And she tells her story, how she was told she wouldn't have children and ended up having 4 children, totally naturally. So there's some good episodes coming up. So
Yeah.
if you want to watch those. And then while I've got the floor, let me talk quickly about our author of the week. We're featuring Terry Tucker from episode 312. Amazing guy about overcoming adversity, and he has a real story. So I'd encourage, if you're feeling down and feeling life's not too good, you want to watch that episode, and
Yeah.
you'll brighten up, believe me. He wrote a book called Sustainable Excellence, and it's a whole lot of things he's learned through the course of his life. He's had a really interesting life as well. So there'll be a link to that book in the newsletter and in the description to this episode. And then to make sure you don't miss out on our guests that are coming up, pop onto our website, theyakingshow.com, and sign up for our newsletter. We only send you one email a week. We're not going to flood your inbox. We just tell you who's on this week, who's coming next week, and who's coming in the weeks on beyond that. And that's about it from me, Kathleen. Have you got anything you want to finish off with?
Well, I thank you all so very much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. So until then, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.